memo, the reasons are continued on page 2. You'll see I put a big blue arrow there. And then next would be the SLUP. I could explain that now, or I can wait till it comes up on the agenda next.
Okay, let's take it step by step.
Yep, that's fine.
So, I would entertain a motion to, approve the rezoning. Fonda?
Sure.
I move that the Delta Township Board approve the request to rezone 1.3 acres at 302 South Waverly Road, parcel number 0400360039100 from O office to C commercial for the following 5 reasons. 1, the proposed rezoning request meets the criteria specified for rezoning in section 16.04, criteria for amendment to the official zoning map of the Delta Township zoning ordinance. The subject site meets the minimum standards for a lot area with a lot width of the proposed C commercial zoning district. The subject site is appropriately located on South Waverly Road and is adjacent to other commercial land uses. The proposed rezoning to commercial is consistent with the future land use map designation of commercial from the 2013 comprehensive plan, and public water and sanitary sewer are available to serve the site.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the rezoning of 302 South Waverly. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Peter, you may continue.
Yeah, so just looking at our meeting packet, I'm make sure I'm getting to the right part here. Okay. Several pages later, there's another memo in your meeting packet on the special land use permit. The planning commission did recommend approval of this as well. There are several conditions on the project. I'm just going to run through those. We always approve it to a specific site plan, so that is one of the conditions. And then it's subject to site plan approval, so that would go through the planning commission and my office prior to any building permits or any work being authorized on the site. And then this SLP really is only valid if the property is rezoned to commercial, which just happened seconds ago. So we don't have any concerns on that. Yeah, this would just allow them to establish the mixed use building, which in turn grants the residential use.
So, Peter, I have a quick question. So a special land use permit goes with the property,
It does.
not the owner.
Yep.
So any future owner would be required to leave it at 8 apartments or just residential?
There are a couple different options. If this project did not proceed as planned, a new applicant could come along and do this exact same project, or they'd have to modify it through the modification to the SLUP for anything different than what exactly is being proposed here tonight. So the 8 units.
Right, so I'm talking about in the future, if she should happen to sell the property, the special land use permit goes with the property.
It does.
So I was just questioning, do they have to keep 8 apartments, or can they do some different housing configuration? I was curious.
They could do potentially something different if in accordance with our ordinance and with approval of a modification to this SLUP.
Andrew, you had a question?
Not a question. I was gonna make a motion.
Okay.
Make
You
a
may.
motion, excuse me. I move that the Delta Township Board of Trustees approve the special land use permit request from 302 South Waverly Road, LLC, to convert an existing 7,088 square foot office building at 302 South Waverly Road, parcel 040-0343-600-391-00, to a mixed-use building as described in case number PSL 2024-0010, subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, approval is granted in accordance with the site plan prepared by Studio Intrigue dated August 14, 2024. Any expansion of the approved use shall require approval of an amendment to the SLUP. the site plan review approval prior shall be granted. The site plan approval shall be granted there's
Yeah,
a
that's weird.
typo there. Approval prior to issuance of a building permit to conduct any work on the site. Failure of the applicant to comply with any of the provisions required by the zoning ordinance or any stipulations required by the Delta Township Board shall constitute grounds for termination of the SLUP by the Delta Township Board. And finally, the SLUP approval shall only be valid if the property is rezoned to C commercial.
Is there support? Oh, go.
Oh, no, we can
No.
support. I have a
Support.
discussion or comment.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the special land use permit. Andrea.
Excuse me, I didn't know if the applicant would be able to come up to answer a question. While you're coming up, I'll just applaud. You know, in the work that I do in my full-time job, do a lot in the area of housing and childcare and early education, and just know how critical it is, and especially for our working families. So I know you came to us before with your request for approvals for the childcare center, greatly needed in the community with all the families we have. You know, I think we all applauded you and strongly supported you then, but just extremely excited about this. I did have one question, and I realize you have plans, and I'm sure there's a lot of it, and I know housing is challenging, costs are very high. Incredibly attractive opportunity, and I think about working families having that close proximity and access to childcare can be so helpful. And I know you planned the 8 units, I believe those are all 2-bedroom, and I know many families might need more than that, and there may be reasons, but I didn't know if you minded sharing a little bit about the decision and those plans. And I don't know if those are final on the 8 2-bedroom units, but just your thought process with the housing, and how you could best utilize that additional space in that building you have.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm Tanya Sims, and I actually live at 118 Hume Boulevard, which is directly down the street from where the building is located. But the housing kind of came about after meeting with my consultant, and we just kind of decided what could better fit within our community, with us having a childcare on the bottom and then housing up on the top. And so it's actually 4 2-bedroom units and then 4 1-bedroom units in the property. So the 4 larger bedrooms was like the outside, and the 4 smaller ones was kind of like in the inside. But we just felt that it was a great need, and when approached by MEDC for the housing, it just all made sense. Like in order to, for us to be able to not only provide childcare to our working families, but then up it a notch by providing housing as well. So we just felt that there was a great need for both. So if we can do that and help our community and Delta Township, because that's where I live at, why not do that? And so I think it's a great opportunity for our whole community. Like I was just sharing that, we walk in that area a lot, and we have a lot of elderly people, retired families that's on that street. And so we know that kids help keep us alive. And so we just decided, like, this is really a community program. Like, our childcare program is really for our community, for those to come and volunteer and just be a part of what we're doing. And so the housing and the childcare kind of came in together. And so it's a passion, and I'm just glad that I'm able to continue to do the work where I live at. So
thank you for
You're
sharing
welcome.
that, and really want to applaud you on that MEDC grant. I think that speaks volumes about the incredible project
yeah.
that you're launching. So thank you.
Well, thank all of you guys too, as well.
Any other?
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have a question. Just want to say that I am very excited to see a mixed use project go in. I don't know that we have a whole lot of mixed use, but every time you go and we talk about municipalities of the future, mixed use is one of the highlights. And so it's very exciting, and I hope that this will be a watershed that will bring more developers in and more interested parties to create the mixed use and part of the housing that we are tackling as a board here in the township.
So too, I'm excited.
Dennis.
Actually, my question is for Peter.
Okay.
Oh, you're getting off the hook, didn't you, Peter? Looking at the map, the legend zoning code that's associated with the first motion that was made and approved, and this property was zoning 0, right?
Yep.
And I noticed there's a number of small properties that abut to that, very narrow ones. And I recall that there's 2, maybe at the most, tiny little houses that are close to this property towards St. Joe. Are those also zoned O? To your recollection, because I'm seeing these small little properties. I don't know if they're vacant or if there actually is one of these houses on it.
Where are those homes located?
Well, just south of this property, you know, towards the Home Depot.
Yeah, I don't have a larger zoning map. I can probably pull one up if we're.
Well, my question is this, you know, and you can get back to me offline on that particular question, but there are 2 houses there. And I don't know if they're zoned O or if there's a residual grandfathered, you know, residential. That's the question I want to know. And there might be other opportunities for similar projects like this, you know. If someone is an entrepreneur enough, you know, to move forward on that sort of visioning, you know, for the same type of application. So that's why I'm asking the
Yeah,
question.
understood. All right, I can
Okay?
follow up with
Well,
you.
you can get back to me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary? Yes.
I just had a thought. I wanted to also thank Tanya. I've talked to her years ago when this was a dream in her head and she met with her consultant and they had this beautiful plan. And I just appreciate her because she could take this anywhere. And she decided to bring it into her home city, which is Delta Township. And she's also very active with us. She participated in the Juneteenth. I think she had like 40 kids that came to the reading. And I just appreciate the interaction that you have with the community. So thank you for bringing this. I know it's going to be successful. I've walked through this building with her and imagine the dream coming alive as well. And it's just going to be spectacular. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, we have actually 2 closed sessions tonight. They will require separate action, so we are looking for the first. And I move that the Delta Township Board adjourn to closed session at the request of the township manager under the Open Meetings Act, Act 267 of 1976, Section 8(1)A MCL 15.268, parens 1, parens A.
I'll support that.
It's been moved and seconded to go into closed session. We will return back to this room coming out of that closed session and take a new motion for the second closed session.
To vote on the
You wanna take the vote?
Yes, and it's roll call, please.
Madam Clerk,
Yes.
Treasurer Fields, yes. Trustee Cascarella,
Yes.
Trustee Brewer,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Mohica.
Yes.
You have the majority.
Thank you. So all of you were bear with us. We'll be back.
This could take.
The first.
Yeah, so. Like the people,
And I will entertain a motion to go into our second closed session.
So moved.
Support.
Treasurer Fido, would you please
Right.
call roll?
Trustee Brewer,
Yes.
Trustee Cascarella,
Yes.
Trustee Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Mohica.
Yes.
Treasurer Fields, yes. Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Majority.
We are in closed
Closed
session.
session again.
Yeah, we'll do it 2 minutes. Yes. I know what's gonna happen. We are back in session. And our next agenda item is the supervisor appointment.
Should I make a motion to come back into session?
That
did.
happened over there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We have no control over the timing of this circumstance. With the upcoming November election, we are still navigating the legal procedures and processes. We want to minimize the disruption to the governance structure. And the board is comfortable, we can continue to move this township forward as we are now. Managers report.
Thank you, Adam. Board members. Just happy to report that Willow is back open, only 2 lanes, so there's still some work to do, but at least we are getting traffic back through there. Our St. Joe project is proceeding along. We have multiple crews on that. So we have some working east from snow already on the south side of the road, while the west side is also being worked on. Just to give everybody a heads up, I'll be presenting on behalf of the township at the Friends of the Lansing Regional Trails on Wednesday. So and I believe Treasurer Fedewa will be.
Yeah, I
There
won't
as
be
well.
here for that. Is our Parks Director gonna be in attendance as well?
I will check. I know our engineer, Jake is planning on attending as well.
All right.
Speaking of pathways, Elmwood Ivan Mall pathway, which you're familiar with, that we've been working on for several years, that has officially been pushed back to 2026. So we were able to move our federal funding award back a year. So that's gonna help us. We still have several easements to acquire on that, which has been challenging in that area. But we're still committed. That's still, I think, gonna be a great project for that area. We did receive our preliminary DNR scores for our trust fund applications today. So we'll be reviewing those, and now we'll be moving into adding supplemental information to try to improve our scores on our 2 trust fund applications, which was the Elmwood Ivan Mall project and the Delta Mills to Hawk Meadow pathway project. And then last but not least, attended the MML convention last week, several good sessions. I know trustees Bowen and Brewer and Mohica and Treasurer Fedewa were also there, so many good communities, but one in particular had a session on artificial intelligence for local government, so I just brought everybody a handbook. Just kind of interesting.
That's the one I want to.
So we've
Yeah. But
as we kind of explore different things with that, we've had some conversations internally, so had a very good conversation with our directors, our manager's office staff meeting today, working through those. So surprised at what people are already using AI for personally, and look forward to, looking at options for the township. That's all I have. Happy to answer
Yeah.
questions of the board.
Just a comment on the handout here. I suggested Brian do that. This is a very good lay person understanding background on AI and what potential uses local government can use. And I just thought it was a really good primer for, probably future discussions that we're going to have. And I would encourage the board members to actually take a look at it. So.
Yes.
Just a question for you on the St. Joe project. I just wanted to make sure on behalf of Mrs. Miles that the memorial is still in place. I assured her I believed it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I credit Rick for that because he was making sure that at almost every meeting, so that has been removed and it's sitting safely to be reinstalled once the pathway goes in.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll let her know.
Thank you for the reminders.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Beth, did you have?
No.
Oh, okay. Karen, anyone who can? No final comments? And any additional public comments?
David Howell, 9487 Guinea Road. I just have a couple of questions. My understanding right now is that the clerk is wearing two hats, kind of the acting supervisor and the clerk. Are you being reimbursed for both of those positions that you're acting in that capacity? Because on the one hand, one of them is part-time, less than whatever FTE. The other one is a full-time FTE. So how's that being handled?
That hasn't been discussed, and for me, it's not really an issue.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, you go into closed session to discuss it. And we don't know if it was discussed or settled while you were in there.
There was no discussion.
Okay. My other understanding is that as acting supervisor, that's effective until the next supervisor is sworn in after the election. Is that true? In other words, can you be an acting supervisor beyond the point at which
We're navigating the legal process still, David.
okay. And you just answered my third question too.
What would that be?
The third question was, when is the next elected township supervisor, when would that term begin?
The next elected township supervisor?
Right, I'm assuming that it would have to be a write-in candidate.
Term
So,
begins with whoever wins the November ballot.
does that term begin later in November? Or does it begin
November
January
20th
1st?
at noon.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other general comments from the public? Board members, last chance? We are adjourned.